Hello and welcome to my course, Android Game Programming for Beginners. What this first introductory lecture is about is just to explain the contents and the actual lectures that you'll be taking with this course. We'll look at the order that we do things in, and hopefully by looking at this information you'll be able to work out whether or not this course is for you. What you're looking at on the screen now is the Udemy interface that you'll see if you purchase and play the course. And as you can see on the left hand side, it's divided into three sections. The first section is a getting started and Java refresher. So if you studied Java at school, or perhaps if you've gone over a beginner's manual or two of Java, or if you know absolutely nothing about any programming language, then the getting started and Java refresher section is to you. This is a mainly theory-based section. You can sit back, relax and just watch if you want. There are some practical exercises you can take part in and actually create a simple Android project and enter some code just to get a feel for things. But this is a really quick, really simple refresher so we can get straight into the games. Now I'm going to come back to that section in a minute and go into it in more detail. But first let's take a look at what's in section 2 and section 3. Section 2, we will build a breakout arcade game clone. It's the longest section of the course by a long way, and the reason for that is we build it in very small steps and we investigate every single line of code. So if you're a complete beginner and have had no exposure to Java other than the Getting Started and Java refresher, this will help you build on that knowledge while making a cool game. If you want to know more about the Breakout Arcade Game Clone, please take a look at the free lecture that's been provided as an introduction. In section 3, we'll build a Space Invaders game. It's a much shorter section than section 2, and the reason for that is that we can reuse the principles that we learned in section 2. Now this is quite exciting because it means we can actually build an entire game, Space Invaders, in just a couple of hours. But more than this, once you reach the end of this Space Invaders game clone, you're going to begin to realise the structure of a simple game in Android, and actually you'll be able to go away and plan your own game objects and your own game and put together pretty much any simple arcade style game you want. Back to the Getting Started and Java refresher, let's take a look at what's in there. So if you know nothing about programming, or you just know a little Java, or you learnt Java some time ago and you want a refresher, this is what we'll do. First of all, we'll set up the Android development environment. This is Android Studio. Then we'll move quickly on to creating an Android project and looking at the most simple programming concept of all. That's code comments, which enable us to keep track of what our code's doing and remind ourselves when we come back to a program days, weeks or months in the future. Then we're going to learn about variables. Variables are simple but important. They enable us to keep control of and manage our data. In the section after that, we'll learn about manipulating those variables, which is key to controlling the state of our game. After that, we learn the critical topic of conditions and decisions. We will learn how to analyze our variables and the values that they hold in order to make decisions about what our game should do next. Moving quickly on, we'll learn about branching control. So once we've learned how to check for conditions and make decisions, we'll then learn how to branch off to different parts of our game. Loops is another important topic. We'll learn how to efficiently repeat parts of our code, in particular the main game loop, which will repeat over and over again. For example, if we're going to check if a Space Invader has been shot down, we wouldn't want to write code for each Space Invader, and this is what loops are about. Lecture 9, we'll learn about methods and how we can stop our code from becoming complicated by splitting it up into different sections called methods. And then finally, for the Getting Started and refresher, we'll learn about object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming is key to virtually all modern game programming, and it is another way of code organization, but actually it's more than that as well. It's a really important topic, but it doesn't have to be complicated. I keep it simple, and straight after that lecture 10, you'll be ready to move on to the first of the game projects.